Yes, thank you very much. I'm glad that I'm facing a few young females here right in front of me, because I think if you would allow me, Mr. Moderator, that I would rather speak like a father rather than Deputy Minister of Youth or a General Manager, because at the end, everybody here is a father or a parent for a son or a child. And I think the situation is a little bit challenging, because I'd start with the end point, and I think we need to tell our youth, our Gen Zs, to step up. It won't work this way. I mean, for me to be a Gen X or to be a millennial, the idea, the concept of understanding youth is very complicated. There's a huge rift. There's a gap between the way Gen Zs think and the way Gen Xs think. We're thinking in our mindset to provide a future for people who already know much more than we do. I drove to the hotel today, and passing by, I saw Amazon on one of those buildings. And I was wondering, do we expect our youth to be cloud architects and practitioners and work for IBM or Microsoft or Amazon? Does that really make sense? I mean, if I ask you to become a .NET programmer or a AWS cloud architect, what happens if programming changes into the voiceover and then you don't even need .NET anymore? I mean, we need to be frank with our youth. We really need to tell them exactly what the situation is. For any partnership to work, it has to be a win-win-win situation. I'm surprised that I'm sitting to the left of me is a banker, and right there an IBM specialist, and we all know that very soon everybody's going to transfer to digital banking, right? All banks are going to be on your mobile phone. What are we going to do with all of those employees? What are we going to do with the tellers? What are we going to do with the accountants? What are we going to do with the auditors? I mean, we go to telecommunication companies, Redo, Zain, whoever it is. I have Google Fi on my phone right now. I terminated my contract. I don't need them anymore. Your internet service has changed. We really worry about our youth. And we in Kuwait at YPA, we're taking a straightforward initiative with our youngsters. We're telling them we live in a global market. There's a lot of competition. It's capitalism, my dear kids. I mean, you have to be strong to fit and survive. A very simple example. You can go ahead now and if you have TikTok or if you have Instagram on your phone, try spending a few hours on Khan Academy or Khan Academy, right? Go to the SAT website, get 1,600, apply to U of T, and become a physician. Voila, you've got a career. I mean, depending on government to get everything done for you. I mean, the government needs you more than you need them, right? We need to build an economy. We need to be able to flourish. We need to be able to compete. Now, what becomes really interesting is the region we live in. I'm talking about the Middle East. I see a lot of Arabs, in this room. And when it comes to regional ideas in terms of development, I mean, we're way behind. We really need to start compete. And there's no way we can compete with a very fast-paced developing market if you guys do not step up. The private sector will only work with you if they win, if they make money, right? The government will only work with you if they don't have to hire you and they get rid of you and you start paying them taxes, right? The youth will only, win if they get a job that is well paid. I mean, for this project to work all together, we have to come up with commitments that every single one of us has to do their role. I mean, we need to start thinking of behavioral economics. We need to start to do the nudging. Now, how we solve this in Kuwait, because I believe as a decision maker, we're not in the position to complain. We find solutions. We need to put them, we need to implement them, and we need to educate and nudge our youth to start abiding by those solutions. So we created the job creation program. It starts with the end point. I contact the bank. I ask the bank, how many programmers do you want? And they say, well, we need 20. How much are you going to pay them? We're going to pay them 500 KD. That's fine. We move to step one. We go to the youth. And I tell my youth, I need you to become a .NET programmer. You get certified, you do your internship, and then you guaranteed a job with a minimum wage of 500 KD. But we cannot do that if the government doesn't do mapping for the ecosystem and start dissecting the sector. Our problem is with the sector. I mean, you see Jordan here. We get most of our lettuce in summer in Kuwait from Jordan. So that means there's a sector that you work with. I mean, most of our .NET programmers and cloud architects, we're getting them from East Asia. How come we're not getting them from Egypt? Right? I mean, we as a region, we need to start to think more like the European Union. We need sustainability. We need to dissect the markets. We need to know who's doing what, and then we start merging together in order to provide this development. I'm really sorry that it's taking so long, but I think it's time to move on. We have a project. We have the proof of concept. We have the KPIs that work with it. Let's get this done. Thank you very much.